Hi, my name is Rado, and the team requested me to take a look at your domain and prepare a one-pager. So I think that what you replied to was an email related to basically mapping marketing efforts with revenue, and so that the CFO, like all the questions related to the board presentations to the board or to the CFO, would be really aligned between marketing and the financial world. And I think that this is where it comes from. That we've seen that a lot of times, and because we also faced a lot of questions from the CFO or from the board, like how does the marketing effort translates into net new growth, and which channels are the most incremental? So that's the biggest question that is necessary to answer. And in like the next 20 minutes, I don't know how long this video will be. I will try to explain how we would approach this situation so that we could give you ammo for the conversations with the board or CFO as a result of specific activities that we can conduct on your accounts, on your brand, basically, and what kind of data you can get to be able to answer difficult questions from the CFO. I don't have the ready-made answer, basically a Google Sheet or some kind of demo file that you could like just fill out and get an answer so that you could copy and paste it to your presentation to the CFO or the board. I don't know how big your company is. I haven't checked the traffic. What's the growth rate year to year, and what's the scale of your business, and on which markets you're active, which markets are growing the fastest, which aren't. And I have to say that yes, you're scaling and you're achieving growth. And I will assume that maybe you have some financing, maybe you have, and you're profitable, like being able to scale business from one market to another. Like we've done a lot of work in the US and in Europe. Right now, we are trying to outreach to new businesses and try to build relationship with smaller businesses. And and I'll just give it a try. And maybe it will be, maybe I'll be able to help you. So first of all, the first 2 points, like I think that the first step would be to align on North Star KPIs in your business. Like, and I think that it also translates to like how you would like to set up your marketing so that it's clearly visible that the goals of marketing are, let's say, aligned with the overall business goals. And I think that these two first points, I will speculate. I don't know how your business is set up exactly, but I will speculate that in your case, net bookings and revenue after cancels and refunds, plus occupancy percentage by departure and contribution margin per cabin, these could be the most important KPIs in your company in more sailing. So yeah, that's my guess. This is what the board or CFO looks at, and I think that it is important to have in every presentation, every conversation with them to stress that you are aligned with these two goals, and this is what you look at, and this is what you're looking at when it comes to all of the decisions of marketing. The next two metrics, I think that these are like your marketing related metrics only. New customer mix, what's the percentage of new customers? How long does it take to pay back for acquiring new customers in specific market and in specific cohort of month? Let's say you acquired 1,000 clients in January 2024. How long, how much? And these were incremental clients, which means that if you spend money on marketing, this 1,000 clients wouldn't be incremental. And how long does it take to pay back the investment in marketing from these 1,000 customers so that you break even? So more or less, that's the answer. So that would be, in a perfect world, already a huge answer and a huge sign to the board, CEO, to the CFO that it's all that you have the data, you have the answers, and you know what's the ROI on investment. The next one is marginal ROI by channel and customer acquisition cost by channel. So then and it's impossible to have the precise answer, 100% correct answer. These metrics are directionally correct. So if you have answers like what's the true marginal ROI of, let's say, Meta ads or LinkedIn ads or sponsored listings in TripAdvisor, then you give it a guess, but you have to kind of build a model and try to assess, and then you have to verify if that model holds. What's the percentage of OTA and affiliate versus direct share? So that's also probably a guess, because Google Analytics attribution or any attribution is really hard to measure, but there is a lot of data to try to connect and to build a model. That's what we do often, and we try to build a model, then we try to validate this model with the clients in the next months or quarters. Okay, so what are your likely blockers? And the first point is the most important. In our opinion, most of the businesses, they have this, let's say, a channel that is everybody thinks that works and everybody has done it for like forever, like retargeting and brand over credit. And they don't know how incremental these two activities are. And it is important to validate that. Otherwise, there will be this huge blended ROAS and everybody spends money on retargeting and the numbers look good. But in reality, nobody is truly measuring how much of that spend, how many new customers, how much of new revenue, new net revenue came from overall marketing spend. And these two probably are the ones to be cut. Definitely, we'll try to convince you to go for brand and retargeting. And in our experience, that's 30 to 40% cannibalization of existing customers that would convert anyway, that would already type in more, sell more. Why? Because we see that your brand is pretty strong. Like from year to year, more and more customers are coming back. So if you have paid search campaigns and you have retargeting, there's a high chance that, actually, I don't see too many brand campaigns here, which is good. This is a good sign that you don't make this mistake. So I don't know, or maybe you do at least a little bit. You spend money on brands. So I'm curious, what's the percentage of overall paid search spend that you're trying to that? And what if you would exclude brand phrases? What if you would stop retargeting? And do you know the art of doing that would be to design the test the right way. So here we have two tests, how we would approach it. And there is a clear methodology how to design tests that will not hurt business. In the same time, will give answers to marketing, whether a specific channel is incremental or not. And that applies that these are tests called geosplits. And it's going to be impossible to measure, what's the true measure of these two channels, brand and PPC and retargeting, how these two channels impact incremental inquiries and new bookings, and and also it's possible sometimes to set guardrails like stop loss in case of customer acquisition cost or payback. If something happens with the data that exceeds specific threshold, let's say the cancel rate skyrockets or by 3 percentage points versus control group, then it means that, hey, if we're not spending money here and the cancellation rate is going up, or like there is way less new clients immediately after a couple of days in, let's say, 30% of the market that we stopped brand or stopped retargeting, then we have only a couple of, let's say, lost transactions, but we already see that it is incremental and we have to step back and actually continue spending, because it's essential for the customer journey to experience heavy retargeting or brand PPC, because there is heavy competition bidding on your keywords. Anyway, other likely blockers, OTA, affiliate, last clicks. So this is what you see in Google Analytics probably. Phone, offline bookings, which are under tracked probably. I don't know, that's our guess. Seasonality, not in forecast. So you have clear seasonality, as you can see here. And this is just a brand, like American brand worldwide. And in Sweden, this is probably totally different. But we have specialized tools about like how to measure seasonality and see long-term trend, whether it's growing or declining, and how to build a budget around it so that the budget is truly efficient, and whether it's smooth or very risk averse, or it's a bit more aggressive and you spend money exactly where you have the biggest bumps in a season. So let's say in a week 35th or like month in September or August, you have the highest peaks, or June, and then you spend almost zero January, February. So based on a couple of inputs data, it's possible to design a really comprehensive budget for the whole year and not to lose even 1 or 2 or 5%. Based on our experience, from 1 to 5% is lost due to wrong budget allocation and not taking into account seasonal demand. Promo cohorts with higher cancel rates. So if you have some kind of promo, it can hurt margin and it can have much higher cancellation rates. So important to see that. Besides that, we build forecasts and guardrails, so it is so that we could know based on trends and your historical behavior, like what could we expect in the future, and not only CAC and payback period, but also like other things in terms of like what could be the number of bookings next year actually. But these are the questions that we try to answer. And I think that when you have the questions answered, which channels are the most effective? So these are just 2 tests to start, but later you can test TikTok, or you can test sponsored listings in TripAdvisor or some other OTAs, like any sponsored listings. And you can go, like, if you have the right testing methodology and you have a system in which you can measure how incremental specific channel is, and you know how long it takes to pay back a specific cohort of users that you acquired in specific month. And if you conduct tests every month or every second month, at the end of the year, you have a lot of answers already to combine it into a forecast, so that the next year is less of a question, more there are less questions to be answered. Of course, this work never ends, but yeah, at the end of the day, the CFO receives the answers to the questions, like which channels are net new versus taking credit. And this is if the CFO on the board gets the answer to that after the tests, they feel, oh my God, this guy knows like how to run marketing so that it's really financially connected with financial goals of the company. Was the payback per market and cohort? You have different markets, different countries, so it makes sense to, validate that. I know that these markets are not huge yet, but, starting with the right infrastructure makes sense. So yeah, this is like how we usually go, and we try to run the tests one by one. So basically running these 2 tests and maybe adding some more to the list, then building the North Star KPI Google Sheet or Google Looker Studio to try to answer these questions and then build a forecast. Yeah, so additional materials, these are some things that are the most important. I see here the most important business healthy metric is brand searches, which is growing year to year. And it's not only the reflection of like how much of the organic traffic you're getting, but you can clearly see that people are learning about your brand, they use your service, and then they come back the next year because they like the service. So the brand is growing, especially in Sweden. Okay, and that's it. That's it about the one pager. I think that the next steps from our side would be to have a meeting and potentially meet and talk about where we right in the problems that you face. Maybe you have already some answers to the questions. Maybe we were far from the reality of your business, but it was fun to engage in this exercise to try to imagine how it is to be the CMO of More Sailing. And yeah, maybe you'll find it useful. Please feel free to reach out. We are happy to help and to support you in some business questions or answers, finding answers to the business questions. Maybe we could also reverse engineer one of your competitors. This is what we also quite often do as part of the learning how to fix the growth, the rate of growth of your business. Or maybe we could also take a look at your brand and basically get access to analytics, booking engines, CRM, ad platforms, call tracking, if present, OTA, affiliate reporting, and even do a huge audit for you and to see what we see, all of the opportunity ideas, insights, and prioritize them from the most impactful, the lowest effort to the let's say, to the high effort, lowest impact. And we try to build a system like that and then to present it to you as a readout. So these are 2 things that we could do. 3, actually, we could engage in testing methodology with you, build, the whole infrastructure related to, as we talked in this video. 2nd, run an audit for you. 3rd, try to reverse engineer one of the or a couple of competitors that you see out there that are doing the right work and try to repeat what they've done well. Thanks a lot, and hopefully see you in a meeting. Take care. Bye.